When you all arrived, there was a wonderful new logo on this board that says, "Get involved and make a difference with the VHA and the dead center of that," and that is just important to us. There are some people in this audience that I know get involved and they make a difference. I think that Darlene is here somewheres, and she teaches line dance on a very regular basis and gives hundreds of hours a year to villagers. She's involved and she is making a difference. There's Andy Hendricks, who is in this audience tonight. Andy is the guy that's in charge of Shared Harvest Gardens, of which I'm very dear to that place. And he's here with Frank and Della, and they give hundreds of hours and give away thousands of pounds of produce a year. That's important. That's important to us in getting involved and making a difference. Steve and Marilyn Moselle are in this audience, and they actually are part of the Vespians, which is a theater group that I belong to. And have acted, and it's much easier when Steve and Marilyn write the script than it is when I have to produce this. So I just want you to know that. And there are some other people, hundreds of people in this audience that do that. They get involved and they make a difference. But I want to call out three of those folks this evening. First of all is Sandy Mott. Sandy was a charter member of this organization 35 years ago, I think. And Sandy is still involved in this community. She is a member of the ACC. So she has never given up on being involved in making a difference in our community. Carl Arps. Carl has been on our board of directors. Carl has done a magnificent job of helping us write some documents and taking care of those documents. He was a vice president in the North, and now he's moved on to the Architectural Review Committee, which is a very important job also, so he is making a difference. And then there's one person that I'm going to call out, and Joan Sullivan. Everybody knows Joan Sullivan if you're part of the VHA. Joan Sullivan, Fred Briggs, who I'm very happy to see sitting here in front of me this evening, recruited Joan Sullivan about 8 years ago to be the secretary of this organization. And back then, there were a few meetings a year, and Joan was the secretary of the organization. And then she worked for Phil Walker for 3 years in that position. And then all of a sudden, I came on the scene, and early on, she said, "Do you always run at warp speed?" And I said, "Well, if you want to get anything done, I guess that's what you have to do. You have to go at warp speed." So we've been at warp speed. And Joan has been 8 years. She told me she missed 6 meetings in 8 years. That's pretty good. And I'm going to tell you that one of the reasons that our organization is as vibrant and as good as it is because of what Joan Sullivan's dedication to our organization has done. Joan, I don't know where you are, but I want to thank you very much. So getting involved in making a difference is something that we're focused on. And if you remember last year, I focused on a three-legged stool and the importance of our organization in this community with that three-legged stool, the three legs being the development team and community development districts and the VHA, and how we all work together to make this community wonderful. They produce what they produce, and they rely on us to provide them with ideas for enhancements. So this year, I'm very proud to tell you that I believe we have created our own three-legged stool, and we're going to focus on that this evening, because our three legs are with the fact that we've done advocacy for all of the maintenance and things in this community for 35 years. And we've always been a philanthropic organization, but this year we've created another leg, so now we're really more of a stable organization. We've created a wellness side of our organization, and that is, last year, you'll remember in November, we kicked it off with a Health and Wellness Expo. That was a huge success. It was a big job. And we're going to do it again in this November, so you can look forward to that. But if you take those three legs, we're very stable. And I think that we have to have a seat on those. So what I want to engrave in that seat is quality of life. And that's what this whole program this evening is going to focus on, is the quality of life that we have here in our community. And I want to focus with the folks that are going to be following me for discussions on how we as an organization can help them enhance what's already here, what their vision is, what their pride is, to get us through that entire quality of life program that is so dear to me. So that's where we're headed. That's exactly what we're going to do. It's not a question and answer forum, unfortunately. There's been a schedule change that you all saw yesterday and I have to share this with you, ladies and gentlemen, because yesterday Keith Perlman was gracious enough to put an article in the Daily Sun that talked about this evening. The important, and I said, you know, if you have to have your picture in the paper, with Mark Morse, you really want to have it in the paper with an article from the Daily Sun as a Pulitzer Prize finalist. Think about that. That's an honor. That is a big deal. So we're going to move right along, ladies and gentlemen. And first on our agenda this evening is Kenny Blocker, who is the Community Development District Manager, and his assistant manager, Carrie Duckett. And we're going to sit here and we're going to chat about some things that are important. Very good. So in an interview that I had a conversation with Mark Morse recently, he told me that when they arrived here, there were 400 houses. 400. Now, I think there are more than 65,000. There's 80 square miles. It's 150,000 plus people. And artificial intelligence tells me that there are 10 cities in the state of Florida that have a population in excess of 150,000. Think about that. Think of how big we are as a community.
You're correct.
So you have some big numbers for us. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some items that everybody wants to hear about. And then we're going to talk about some pride that you have in what you're trying to accomplish, what your vision is for the next 5 years, and how that's going to help us with our quality of life. So first on the agenda is the VSPD, public safety.
Sure.
Big changes?
Big changes. So, you know, we had some little adversity, you know, a year ago when the county kind of looked at us and had some changes in our budget and what we requested. So they were gracious enough to go through the process and actually create a dependent district. So we've been out there now trying to educate and communicate to the residents about how this independent district is going to function, operate, and be organized, and be able to serve the residents even better than what we do today. The education piece has been the funding mechanism. Of course, when you start talking about assessments, ad valorem taxes, you've got to explain how it all works.
So I want to interrupt you 1 second. I was at one of his educational meetings one night. He had seating set up at Laurel Manor.
Correct.
For 240. John Dean, who was part of that supervisory board, and I were in the audience. There were 12 other people there, 12. So I don't know what that tells you, but anyway.
Yeah, we did 5 community outreach meetings,
Yep.
and unfortunately some of them weren't heavily attended. We tried to get the word out to make sure people understood how this was going to work and how it was going to affect you and the assessments that the board was looking at doing. But the big piece was to make sure people understood that what they currently were paying through Sumter County on the fire assessment fee of $125 was only a small piece of the puzzle. There was an ad valorem side of approximately 1.31 mils that we estimated that they were also paying to support fire, not only here, but also within Sumter County. So what we found out was we were supporting Sumter County Fire almost more than we were supporting our own self for that millage.
And we're going to go there. I want to go there in my closing remarks about that 1.31.
So we have now gone through the process of doing our own assessment methodology, going out and educating the public and all the residents on how that's going to affect them. And we believe we'll be able to provide even a better and bigger service to the residents going forward, and we have that vision going forward for the next 5 years.
That's exactly what the population in Sumter County wanted.
That's right.
They wanted you to do that.
That's right.
So thank you for doing that part of that. And let's talk about the Community Watch. Carrie, do you want to talk about Community Watch?
Sure, absolutely.
So Nehemiah Wolf, Chief Nehemiah Wolf, has got, how many people work for Nehemiah? 150, 200, 300?
And growing as we move further south. And with 150,000 residents, Community Watch is probably one of the first interactions that new residents have, whether it's the patrol drivers, the gate attendants. They really are the first sight that a lot of residents see, and what we call the watchful eyes around the villages. So their role is not law enforcement. That's not a service that we provide as a CDD, but really they are the security and the customer service that reaches every inch of the villages from 42 all the way down south of State Road 44.
So you have a two newspaper rule, that your community watch guys have a 2 newspaper rule?
They do. One of the services they provide, if they are on their patrols and they observe more than 2 newspapers in a driveway, they have a whole host of services and steps that they provide, and have actually saved many residents who they fell on the floor, they couldn't get up, they were missing and nobody knew they were missing. It goes from knocking on the door to calling emergency contacts, and ends up contacting law enforcement to enter the home if need be. Well, they recently did a restructure, and over the last quarter, they have increased that service by over 40% in the steps that they've taken and the amount of residents that they've contacted with those 2 newspapers due to a reorganization that was supported by our boards and committees and residents last year.
Perfect.
And to include when they see the garage door open. They see the garage door open, it triggers that there may be some issues going on, or maybe they just forgot, but that's that helpful service they bring on. And when Carrie said they're the first kind of interaction they have, a lot of times when they come to that gate, they will actually escort that moving truck to the home and the family to the home, to the residents of that home. So that is that first interaction. So it's a great service they provide.
And it actually, let's talk about the gates, because that's part of that whole community watch thing also. And we're redoing all of the gates, all of the systems, the entire systems. There are a lot of the gate cards that people have bought from others that are in mirrors that they don't put their arm out the window anymore, which kind of irritates me, but I don't know. I guess that's the way it is.
So there's a whole wave of increasing those functions of those gates, and actually increasing the computers in there to actually become better and bigger. And so those kind of clone cards won't work anymore, that they'll be having to use the right card to make sure they get through those gates. So they've been upgrading the whole system.
But the reader is going to read from more than 6 inches, or
And eventually we hope to get to the long-range reader. That'll be in the next phase.
Okay.
Yeah. We've heard the request. The residents do not want to roll down their window in the rain. They do not want to roll it up and down. So we've heard you, and we are working right now with the committees and the boards with some type of other option, whether it's a barcode, a click system, some type of additional option for residents that don't want to roll down.
Think of how bad that is. If you have to put your window down and it's 90 degrees, you change the air in your car, and it'll take you 30 seconds.
We've heard you.
I think it's worse when it rains.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's worse when it rains. Yeah. Well, you just sit there and wait for somebody to open it for you then.
Yeah.
Let's talk about T, the Enrichment Academy.
Yes, sir.
Where did that come from?
So for many of you, you probably remember prior to about 2017, there was a great organization called the Lifelong Learning College. And when the Lifelong Learning College ceased to exist within the villages, one of your previous presidents, Mr. Fred Briggs, approached district management at the time and said, you have to do something. This was a great opportunity for residents that wanted to learn more. They wanted to further their skills, whether it be in history, art, health. They just wanted more. They wanted to continue education. So between the partnership with VHA, district management, and our wonderful Recreation and Parks Department, back in about 2017, we created the Enrichment Academy, or T, and we have increased our participation in T tremendously over the last several years.
So what's the number? What was the number last year? How many people participated in the Enrichment Academy?
Last year we had over 24,000 participants or seats sold for different programs within the Enrichment Academy. That was up about 145% from where we started.
That's pretty impressive.
And most of the instructors are residents. They're giving back to the community. I think that's great. And I mean, Fred, thank you for bringing that to us. That was a great program. We appreciate that.
So where's T going? Are they just going to continue to expand? And I'll tell you, one of the minor downfalls with them being so expansive is that it's hard to get room reservations now, because they're using up a whole lot of rooms.
But they will continue to expand based on the requests that come in from the residents to create these new programs.
So let's quickly move on to a thing that I've seen a lot of press recently about golf. There have been some folks who've been disturbed about golf.
So there has been some issues with some of our golf courses, and we have recognized that maybe we should have shut them down a little earlier. We do have to manage, the availability of play compared to how the courses are actually functioning out there. And we have a lot of play on our courses between executives and championships, over 3.5 million rounds a year. That's a lot of golf. But people expect to want to be able to play golf when they expect to get a tee time, so we want to make sure we have the availability out there to them. But we recognize some of these courses were in need of some, like I said, they kind of had to take a nap.
Those courses were in tough shape.
But they're coming around, they're starting to become open, they've kind of rested, they're coming back around. But we've also got an aggressive campaign this coming year to renovate 7 of them, to actually renovate all 7 of these courses, 2 on the north side, 5 in the project-wide area between the 6s, and to actually make them bigger and better as we know it today.
So today, this afternoon, about 4 o'clock, I read the report that the PGA agronomist who came and worked with Mitch for 3 days, I think they were here, and everybody knows that. They surveyed 36 golf courses,
right.
I believe, did core samples, and looked at everything that they could conceivably look at. And I have to tell you, after reading that report, I was impressed, because I think that the way the programs are set to go, that there are going to be some significant changes for the better.
Right.
And I think that there are some things that were maybe not done correctly, or not on purpose, but just because we've grown.
Well, we're always looking for continuously improvement, right? Always continuously improve your product and your services out there. So sometimes we have to look back and see, what did we do? Did we do something that maybe wasn't correct, or maybe we could have done it better? So let's do it better for the future, and that's what we're always continuously improving.
And that's the whole philosophy.
That's right.
Of the community development districts is let's look at it, see if it's done properly, and what we need to do that better.
Right.
So maintenance-wise, I forgot to tell these folks that this is the annual report for the community development districts. There's some fascinating numbers that everyone should be able to read. Can people look at this online?
It's on the website, right? I think on the front page of the website. So,
yeah, so it's at districtgov.org?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, some amazing numbers. All of your CDDs are in there with the funds, who your CDD supervisors might be, and I think that all of that's important for all of us to know. We should really be aware, because sometimes we're not. And because you folks, you have interaction with all of these boards on a monthly basis. Is that correct?
That's right.
And so all of the funding runs through your office. So let's talk about your vision. Where's the community development district going in 5 years?
So we constantly always look outwardly, so to see exactly how our organization needs to grow, how it needs to change, improve, what type of professional development we need to bring into the organization, because we want to make sure that we're producing the best product we can for the residents that we serve. So we're always looking to have a 5-year plan, and we look at organizational strength and organizational structure to look at how many people do we need to be in finance or budget, the clerk's office. So we're always looking to see, as we continue to grow, what resources do we need to bring in-house to make sure we can create the best product we can for all the districts that look for us to serve them. And that's what we do. We're making sure we maintain and create a situation here that everyone understands how we function, and that we'll be able to function into perpetuity. And that's our main goal, is make sure we can maintain everything we have that you came here for into perpetuity.
So also, when I was looking at the numbers that are here, there's just under 2,200 acres of turf management that your organization does. There's just over 500 acres of flower beds that your organization takes care of. That's huge. That is huge.
And the flowers. Don't forget the
I
flowers.
won't forget that. How many? 1.8 million.
Yeah,
Is that
you
what
go.
it is? Yeah, there's a lot of flowers. But you know what? It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. That's what we need to. That's what we need to be ensured of, is that your organization is here to maintain what we already have. And I think that out of a conversation that you and I had, Kenny, recently, when I walked away from that conversation, I said, you know, I think the VHA has got to be the mechanism for providing for the community development districts what enhancements they're looking for.
Sure.
I know that there are things like some people call it Black Lake Walking Trail.
Yes.
I call it the Peter Muller Trail.
Yeah.
Other people do also, but we won't go there. You know, every time you drive by there are people walking on it. So we as a group, we need to think about these things. If you have some ideas on how we can make our quality of life, because it's all part of that. The whole deal is all part of that. We bought into this system, if you will, and we expect it to be maintained.
That's right.
And what's really nice for me is that if I have an issue, if our organization has an issue, we can call you. I can send you a text at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to answer it. Yeah. And if I have a problem, I can send an email to Bruce Brown, and he almost sends an email back before he's received the one that I sent. That's how fast it is. So all of these things are just incredibly important, and I'm not sure that that's anywhere else in the community.
Yeah.
I think that that's all part of being the VHA and how important we are to this entire structure.
We certainly appreciate that partnership. We look to listen to the ideas that you bring us on how we can improve all the experience that everyone has and how we can make things better. We're always open to those ideas to kind of talk through them, and there has been some great ideas, and I know we call it the Peter Trail. I used to get a daily update from Peter on the trail. I haven't got one lately, but he used to call me every morning to tell me how it was doing. So those are great things that we know that we're providing that great service to the residents, and we appreciate the VHA bringing those ideas to us.
Perfect. So anything else that you want to throw at us? You're moving to Brownwood?
We are.
That's this.
End of the year.
That's the end of this year?
Yes, sir.
Yep, and we are going to continue to maintain our satellite office in the La Hacienda Recreation Center. We
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're easily accessible to all of our residents on the north end.
Yeah.
We will have a satellite office at Lake Sumter Landing, so
Yeah.
we will maintain a presence there as well. But the majority of our offices will be moving south to Brownwood, hopefully by the end of the year.
And then at some point in time, you may well have another satellite office someplace
Absolutely.
in the southern part of it.
Strategically looking at how we can serve the residents. And those are through satellite offices, the main office, but strategically you have to look at how we're going to serve them.
Perfect. Well, I thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I thank you for allowing us to engrave that seed in that three-legged stool with quality of life, because that's important to us. That's important to the group of people that are here. And it's certainly important to those people that are going to come here in the future.
Yep.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Oop, you lost your pen. Carrie, see ya. Thanks. So I have to tell you a secret, and that is that I sort of knew what Kenny and Carrie and I were going to talk about a little bit. I had a little cheat sheet, and so that I had some bullets on it. But I have to tell you that the next group of people that I'm going to talk about, what I hear, what you hear tonight is going to be all new to me, because I have no idea where this conversation is going to go. But if you think about the next group of people, like Drew Craven. Drew Craven is the general manager of Villages Grown. They're producing some amazing produce just at the intersection of Morse and 44. John Rohan is the director of Parks and Recreation for the Villages, and really has an ear for the recreation and the socialization of us as a group of people. Bob Trin is the CEO of Villages Health. They have programs that obviously they're a medical facility, but they have more than 80 programs available to us that are free of charge, where we can go and maybe do some preventive maintenance so that we don't need to use the doctor's side of that. And then Heather Long is here. Heather is the CEO of UF Hospitals UF Hospital, Central Florida. So we've covered the whole gamut. We're going to talk about the food intake. We're going to talk about recreation and the importance of that. We're going to talk about the medical side and what's available there. And we're going to talk with Heather and see where they're going. And the important part that I think that we should be able to get out of this is what the focus is going to be for the next 5 years, what their vision is, what their pride is in what they're doing, and what we as a group can do to help them. Because that's going to be the important part of everything that we do in the future. We need to be the people to enhance what they're doing. They need to come to us and say, we need some help, Peter, and we need to be able to give it to them. So without further ado, let me introduce Drew Craven and John Rohan. I can see John sitting right here. Bang. Good evening.
How are you?
Drew, Bob, Heather.
How are you, Russ?
Great. So we've got it all covered. We've covered the food side. Drew Craven growing some amazing sprouts.
Yeah.
And all of those wonderful things to keep us healthy. And John, you just continue to, I have to ask John this because I don't know if this is true or not, but Suzanne Stansel, who is the developer's land development person, architect.
That's right.
Was talking about recreation and all of those things that go into that recreation. And do you have a seat at that table?
Yes, I do.
Woo-hoo.
Yes.
I want one of those. I haven't been able to get one, but I want one of those.
It's a privilege and an honor to take the residents' visions and thoughts of what they would like to see in recreation parks, and then share that with the dream team, and then they work their magic and they bring it to reality for our residents.
So I think that's a key point in that none of this is just pulled out of the air. Everything that happens with all of us, really none of it's just pulled out of the air. It's all well thought about. And Drew, you're growing microgreens and do I see cucumbers on your menu? And all kinds of other things. And where are you going? What's your goal? What do you want to be able to do for me and I want to share this also with you. I'm very selfish when it comes to this whole deal of quality of life, because this is all about me and Victoria, and I'm just willing to share this energy with the rest of the residents. So Drew, help us. Where do you want to go? What's Villages Grown going to do in the next 3 years, 5 years?
I think it's very similar to what you just described, sharing the energy, right? What we're growing at the farm, and then now inviting the community into the farm. We're getting firsthand the feedback from the residents, from our community, as to what are the tastes, the flavors, the crops, the things that they enjoy and love, and then working with the chefs in the community to deliver those. But more intimately, showing them not just what a good crop is and what local eating and close to the source is, but how to use it. Partnering with things like the show kitchen to teach the residents how to use those ingredients and what nutrition means, or even the partnerships that we've started to develop with the VHA and with, of course, with the health network too, bringing in the nutrition, the dietitians to the retail stores. So I think delivering the tastes and flavors that they want, but also understanding how to teach them to incorporate it into their diet in a meaningful way.
So, and Bob, you're obviously the guy that's the CEO of all of these medical centers that we have in the community, a large network of folks. How important is what these two guys are doing to your organization, and with Amy Wickstead's promotion of well-being and quality of life through this process?
Peter, extremely important. I consider it's a health ecosystem. So, what's great about the recreation centers is our patients, the residents, go out and socialize and are in activities, so they're out there active. They got to eat well. So with Amy Wickstead, her team is teaching our patients, residents on how to eat better. And so really important. And then, with Heather, obviously, when we have patients that need hospitalizations, they go to see Heather. So it's an entire ecosystem here. And together, we're creating, America's healthiest hometown.
So Heather, A couple of years ago, when you stepped into your position, there were a bunch of stars that could be attained in the hospital system, and yours was a little less than perfect.
Yes.
And I know that you have some goals that are set. Are we working? How is that working? How is everything going with that?
Yeah, we have big goals. We have worked over the last couple years to move our star rating up, and for this group to know, it will take some time. CMS 5-star rating is a 5-year accumulative score with a 2-year lag. So we are looking in the rearview mirror. We will not see the work that we are doing today till 2026 and into 2027. That's very, very painful for our teams that are doing that work, because we know we are making a tremendous difference today. For example, our mortality rate is in the top decile today, meaning it's in the top 10% nationally speaking, when it was in the bottom decile, the bottom. So we are making tremendous headway in our quality scores, but we will not see it transparently in the CMS data that our patients see and our public sees until 2026, 2027.
So you have a new stroke ambulance that's coming?
We do. It's an ICU on wheels.
So
is what we call it.
When is that happening?
It was supposed to be later this year, December. We're actually delaying it till March. That's hot off the press as of this morning, because we are moving from a 16-slice CT scanner to a 32-slice CT scanner, the first in the world, right here in the Villages. So. The FDA approves it. I have to add that caveat. So the new scanner was submitted to the FDA yesterday, and as long as it's approved, so I gave the granting of delaying it so that we could be the first to receive that advanced technology right here in the Villages.
So that's a collaborative effort between your organization and VPSD, the public safety, our paramedics that are here.
Yes, absolutely.
So they will be the folks that are working that. So that's a whole other advanced
This is a whole
program.
collaborative effort in the entire community. Our 911 system, our Villages Fire Rescue, we're all working together to make this a connected, collaborative approach for the benefit of our patients. Stroke is the 5th leading cause of death. There's, I think, 1,000 seats in this room. There are 600 stroke alerts a year within the Villages. We ran that data. 600. So every other seat in this room, a stroke alert goes off a year. So if you think about what that brings to this community, it's huge. So I cannot wait when we talk about the quality of life and the prevention of death and the prevention of disability to get people back to doing what they love most. I can't think of a better initiative than to bring a mobile stroke treatment unit right here in the Villages.
So let's talk about what we might be able to do to prevent some of that.
Yes.
Because if we pay attention to what we're ingesting, and we get involved with what John is providing. How many rec centers? 115?
At least, and counting. More on the way. The number increases several times a year. We get more rec centers. But I do want to ask, can you make Brussels sprouts taste like chocolate yet? 'Cause if you can do that, I'm in.
Leaves taste like candy apples. The chocolate's a little ways off.
All right, cool.
Candy apples are good. I'll take a candy apple.
Absolutely.
So we can have. So Drew's going to work on that. You've got some guys over there that can make that happen.
We'll put it in the pipeline.
And I have to share something else with this audience, and that is that Shared Harvest Gardens, which I mentioned earlier, and Drew and I have a fairly good relationship. So he came to check out some irrigation with me one day, and we ended up with a wrap of a greenhouse, and we also ended up with compost. I get compost every week, and I love to get a load of compost every week because it just, it allows me to. What?
I said very few people get excited about that. It's you and I.
Just you and I are the only two. So what I'm really interested in is the collaborative effort that Heather talked about, and how that really works with all of us, because Because if we can work as a group, as a team, then, and we can reduce some of the illnesses that are out there. And interestingly, just 2 days ago, I got this Harvard Men's Health Watch newsletter, and the front page of it says, "Can you become a super ager? Some people live into their 90s with no signs of cognitive decline. What makes them special?" So I think that, and when I read this, we do everything that this article says that we need to do right here. So I guess we need to take advantage of that. How do we do that? How can we promote more of that? Bob, what can you do in Villages Health to accomplish that goal, to maybe, I'm not a guy that likes a lot of medications. In fact, I don't like any of them. Fortunately, don't have to do that. But
that's great. We prefer you not to take medications you don't have to. So,
I know that.
I think first it's that engagement with your physician, your clinicians in terms of, annual, semi-annual, getting checked out. And that's what the Villages Health does, is preventative medicine. We want people to feel healthy and heal quickly so that, they can enjoy the lifestyle here in the villages. And so it is a health ecosystem in terms of working with each of these groups here so that it's creating a holistic, environment for the residents here to be able to live that healthy lifestyle. For us, a big thing is it's ensuring that we're attracting high quality physicians here in the community to take care of the residents. We know that there's a national shortage occurring. And so, with this outstanding features of the villages, being able to attract physicians here who can take care of the residents. And one of the great things that we have that our physicians greatly appreciate is our no-show rate. And thank you to the patients here. Our no-show rate is 2%, which is unheard of. So they're very engaged in our health. And so for us, it's continuing to attract high-quality physicians so we can take care of our patients. We're adding new programs and services. So, for example, this year, April 7th, we actually launched our Sunday clinic. So we had a Saturday clinic. It was open 9 to 4, and we hear that we needed access because there are patients that get sick over the weekend. So we launched that, and now it's open 9 to 1, and it's got very great terms of number of visits, and we plan to expand the hours to 9 to 5 once we get to a certain volume. The second thing that we also did just recently is we hired we have a paramedic at home program. So for those patients that have chronic conditions and need more resourcing and help, we've hired a third paramedic that will visit them in the home and help them to be able to, check out their home and get them whatever they need to better help them. We actually had a paramedic that visited one of our villagers' patients and actually did a televisit. So they came in there and did a televisit because that patient could not come into the center. So we're continually looking at new programs and services so that we can provide this to the residents here in the villages.
Awesome. Drew, what's your next? I know you got to get some chocolate Brussels sprouts for John, or some candy apple ones. It doesn't make any difference. Do either one of those. But what do you envision? Early in one conversation that you and I had, and I don't remember when it was, you talked about being able to provide anything that didn't walk or swim to our residents. Is that still on the horizon?
I think, first off, farming is difficult. Farming in Florida just puts another layer onto it. And so we're quickly exploring inside the facility, what are we capable of? What can we grow, what can't we grow? We're amazed every day that we have beautiful lettuce and 100 degrees outside, right? And so recently, as we've expanded a couple of new cultivars, things exploring like the melon microgreens or peppers. We didn't realize we could do peppers inside the facility. So we have some very lofty goals for our team in terms of trying to manipulate weather conditions in our facility, experimenting with different cultivars to see what we can and can't do. So there will be limits imposed onto us by Florida weather, as beautiful as it is, but I don't think there's a whole lot off the table until we find out if we cannot.
So you have plenty of land, is that correct?
Correct.
So if as you expand your horizons, you could in fact expand your greenhouse capabilities.
Correct.
So, there's another problem that we see around the countryside, and that is labor. Labor. You have labor issues. You have labor issues. How is it working? Are you able to fill the slots that you need to have, Drew?
It's tough. First to say that, the labor market is short. It's difficult to find talented work. It's difficult to find workers that care, that buy in. But we've been very fortunate, just as Bob touched on, that there's a big draw with the community, what we have available, and particularly the engagement of our residents that make our team really enjoy what they do. Since we've opened the farm to tours and having the residents come through and their eyes get really big when they see the tables of lettuce and the microgreens, it's something that you can't list on a job description that you're going to receive. It's not part of the compensation you can describe. So we've been able to mitigate a lot of that just by having a fantastic work environment and a community involved, but it doesn't mean that we're not immune to the challenges.
Heather, is it possible to attract RNs, and is Middleton helping you? Because Middleton is that area.
Yeah, we are in pretty good shape. And a year ago, I can't believe I'm even saying that now. People are returning to the workforce. We have no agency nurses at the Villages Hospital now, or
Wow.
at Leesburg. That's amazing. There are many hospitals that cannot say that. And so we are very thankful for that. I think our quality scores are a result of not having those transient nurses come in and out as well. We've done a lot of work with inside the hospital to create an environment where people want to stay, create that family-like atmosphere. And so we are, seeing the benefits of that. It's a lot of work. I meet with every new employee at 45 days, and I ask them 3 questions. What's going well in your department or unit? What are barriers to keeping you from doing your best work? And the third one is, if you're the CEO of this hospital, what would you do differently to ensure no team member ever leaves UF Health? And so we take those responses and we do something with them the next day, and we make changes, and we take action. And we really believe our retention rate now is a result of that, plus some other things that we've put forth. So we're in a good shape. We do have some travelers in our CT areas and our nuke med areas and some of those, but for the most part, I'm very thankful for where we are today.
The key part of this presentation, one of the key parts is pride. And I think what you just talked about was pride. In your staff and in what they're trying to accomplish.
So Peter, we turned over probably 47.3% of our nurses a year and a half ago because of COVID. People left the workforce, right? It was terrible. However, it allowed us to clean house from the old because we needed something new. We were not going to move from a 1-star with the old workforce that we had. So this allowed us to create a workforce of the new, of the people that truly cared and wanted to have pride in their work. So in a way, it was a blessing in disguise, and now we have a team that cares and wants to take care of this very special community in a way that they deserve.
That's extraordinary. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
And Bob, Bob, I know is as proud as anybody could ever be, and I know that your staff, some of your staff, I don't know all of your staff, but I certainly know some of them who have worked an integral part of what we did last year with our expo came directly from your staff and your help. And there's just a very proud group of people also that work with you. And I compliment you on being able to accomplish that and draw those folks into the community, because that's important to everyone that's sitting here. They need to be comfortable with that guy that or that lady that they're going to see if they have a problem. Are there things on the horizon for you that specialty cares specialty care type operations that you want to share with us that might happen in the next 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, a couple things. First, there's a new ambulatory surgical center that's will open, soft opening in July over at the Center for Advanced Healthcare at Brownwood. And what's fantastic about that is we're going to be able to bring hip and knee replacements to the ASC. I think many patients are going up to Ocala to have that work done. And so we want to keep the care here in the community. And several physicians at the Villages Health will be able to do their procedures there, like our GI interventional pain. Because what's happening is they're having to travel within the villages to get time to do their procedures, and that's wasted time that they're on the road. And if they can do it at the ASC, at the cab, it's much more efficient. So we're really excited about that. The second thing that we're excited about is we're going to be opening up a new primary care center at Eastport, 25,000 square foot care center, can care for up to 10,000 patients. And I believe that's going to be one of our fastest growing care centers when it opens. So we're very excited about that. And then, we're continuing looking at, how we curate our partners in terms of preferred partners, specialists, because we want to ensure that, we have 10 different specialties that we offer in addition to primary care. However, there are other specialties that we don't offer, and we want to make sure that when our patients come see us and we refer them out to a specialist that we don't employ, that we know that they're getting great quality care. So really excited about what the future holds here in the Villages.
John, what are you going to do?
Finally, you got to me.
God.
You know how hard it is to sit still?
Yes, I do. Yeah. But when you get to be my age, you can sit still easily because it's hard to move.
All these wonderful medical folks, I think I got a C in medical terminology in college, so that's about my extent of medicine. But that's why they do what they do so great. And
yeah, but you understand broccoli.
My greens I wasn't always so good on as well growing up. But, I want to just share that I think what makes this place work is that residents made a conscious decision to make the Villages their home. And they knew when they moved here that they were going to be surrounded by believers and achievers, people who believe in what the Morris family created and what has been accomplished over the last 50, 60 years. And we're here today talking about all the great things that are coming and on the horizon. But without 150,000 residents to serve, we don't get that opportunity. And so, it's just, to be 31 years I've been here. This month is my 31st year being part of the Villages. So I think it starts with the residents. I think it starts with the residents wanting to have a quality of life that it promulgates their life. They live longer. I look at it, we've turned into a generational community. We have residents who moved here who their children now have retired here. We have students that went to the charter school that have graduated, went into the service industry right away, or went off to college and came back and now are working here. My children are working here. They're products of the charter school. So this generational concept is alive and well because we're bringing all these new ideas, these new technologies, the new medicines, and that's what residents want. They want great care, great service, great rec and parks, great lifestyle. And I think this team and thousands of others have all committed to do that.
John, do you have anything special you want to share with us tonight?
How much time you have?
No. You told me something that happened.
Oh, the big news.
The big news.
I'm a grandpa. Her name is Estelle Elizabeth Rohan, and she came to us on Thursday. Woo-hoo. I'm getting choked up. May 2nd. Beautiful baby. Mama's good. Dad's good. And so hopefully one day I'll be taking her to Camp Villages.
There you go. Wow. Good for us.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Good
it's
for
a proud moment for us. And so now the next generation is right here.
So I want everybody to know in the audience that that's some information that you could not fly a drone over. It wasn't in the Daily Sun.
That's right.
And it was all brand new. So now what I'd like to do is I'm going to show this audience a 20-minute video. Mark Morris and I sat down last week because he couldn't be here tonight, and we had a wonderful conversation last week about exactly what we're talking about now. So I'll thank you folks for being here, and we'll watch a video, and then I have some closing remarks. But it was fun for me to sit and talk with Mark, and we'll look forward to that. Thanks, John. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Bob, Heather, pleasure. Pleasure. Vision, pride, and quality of life. There we are. So I had that's okay. I have to tell you that there was a thing in the paper that Mark had something else to do. Well, that's not exactly the way it is. I have to tell you that Mark Morse believes tremendously in this organization. And I also have to tell you that he was scheduled to be here, and it had to be something really important that he couldn't. But he did take the time to we spent more than an hour together. You're not going to get to listen to the whole hour of that, but it's about 20 minutes. So, and it's going to talk about we're going to talk about the vision, the pride, and the quality of life. So I'm going to turn that over to this guy, and I'll be back in a minute. Vision, pride, and quality of life. Mm-hmm. So that's where this evening has taken us. And I guess my first question, or my question to start this whole thing, is that was this your vision 30 years ago or 25 years ago? Was this quality of life that we're talking about with these four panelists? Was that part of your planning?
35 years ago, 40 years ago, it was basic survival here in the Villages, then Orange Blossom Gardens. But I can tell you that we felt something when we all arrived here early. You know, that first Christmas we were all here, we were kind of astonished by the very first Christmas parade we saw, very first golf cart Christmas parade we saw. At that point, the engagement of the residents then, and mind you, there were only 400 homes here at the time, but their enthusiasm towards each other and their engagement together made us know that there was something that was already here to build upon. So I'm telling you that the vision wasn't in focus that long ago, but one of the first things that my grandfather and my father did was focus on health, well-being, because they were seeing residents enjoying the lifestyle, and early on in the process realized that it's harder to enjoy if you don't have your health. So one of our very first, in fact, the first commercial real estate tenant we had was Leesburg Family Medicine. We needed a primary care physician out here.
So that was healthcare. That was
health. It was more about healthcare than it was about wellness and quality of life. We felt like the quality of life was there, that social connectivity was there already. And later we learn, every day we learn, but later we learned the importance of activity and social connectivity as a determinant of how healthy you're going to be. And we've been watching that over the years and watching how the platforms that we sort of build, the places and spaces that we sort of build, and how well the residents adopt them and animate them, and how they come together in these places.
So John Roham was here 30 years ago when you, as part of recreation?
Well, no, John, I remember when John came. I was around here when John came, and the entire recreation department when I got here was run by a resident. Her name was Alice Pusey.
And was that what is now Paradise?
That was at Paradise, yeah.
That's being replaced?
It's being renovated right now after all these years.
Yeah.
We put a couple of major renovations there over the years, 13 or 14 different renovations into that facility alone. But Yeah, it was the issue that we had with the recreation department when I got here is if Alice didn't like you, you didn't recreate. So we needed to break that down.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So that was one of the first things that I was charged with doing. Yeah.
So then it evolved from the Leesburg
Family medicine.
family medicine to Villages Health and
Many steps in between. Many steps. We have been on the healthcare side. We had been fighting the healthcare battle ever since Leesburg Family Medicine came, and it had a lot to do with our ignorance about how the healthcare system worked. Actually, we just felt like we needed an acute care facility here, and we actually went into the hospital business. The Villages actually built the hospital, which is now UF Hospital. It was only 60 beds back then, and I think there were only like 18,000 residents in the community when we built it. So you can see how it's grown since then.
You know, one of the things that pops into my mind is I'm involved in shared harvest gardens, and as we ship produce on a Wednesday morning, I want to make sure that the produce looks terrific.
Yep.
And somebody said to me once, "Are you a produce guy at Publix, or what's going on with it?" And I said, "No, but you have to be proud.
Yes.
You have to be proud of the product. You have to, you don't want somebody to look at
Put
it.
your
You have to
name
be
on
proud.
it, right.
So that's got to be a huge part of your thinking and your team's thinking all the way through this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, it goes all the way back to the beginning when we walked into this place. We weren't very proud of it. It needed a lot of love and TLC and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And when you gain ground there, you don't want to ever give it up, right? So as you gain ground on quality of the deliverables and quality of your product and quality of your services, you don't ever want to back up. You do, but you try to avoid that. That's pride, right? We just wanted to create a place where you knew when you got here and you also knew when you left. And so in the food service business, we always talked about serving the perfect meal. Never happens, but it's always the goal.
Every time.
Right.
Without fail. So I had a conversation, fortunately, thank you very much, Stacy Stansel spoke with us. Stacy, your architectural development person, at a leadership forum recently.
Yep.
And talked about the fact they've been here for 30 years. So they've watched this whole Morse Boulevard come down through with these beautiful parks, and everything is absolutely perfect. We talk about healthcare, we talk about recreation, we talk about the hospital program and how they're moving that to a 5-star operation as opposed to something less than that. But the whole 3 to 5 year project of moving a project forward is nothing but quality. In my mind, I don't think there's anything but quality all the way through.
Well, that's the goal, right? And when you hire people like Suzanne and the MPA team, and they get to well, two things that happen. They get to consult us as to, and bring their knowledge and skill and talent to the equation. But then we pay attention to what they tell us, and we do what they consult us to do. I mean, to the best of our ability when we can. And so they wind up having a stake in it. They want to make sure they have their own individual team pride about how this thing is going to get designed, and they can visualize what it's going to look like 20 years from now. I mean, I drive back to Spanish Springs when where we first started utilizing their talents, and I look at some of those trees that we built, and I can remember we planted, and I can remember when they were literally that big around.
4-inch caliber.
You and I can't get our arms around them today.
Yeah, beautiful.
Those guys knew what was going to happen when we did.
They could see it.
Yeah,
they could see it.
Yeah, it's amazing to me.
So now that we know where we are and we can see what's going on, what are we going to do? What are we going to do in the future to enhance what we already have? Do you have anything you would share with us that might promote the enhancement of our quality of life?
Sure. We'll continue to do more of the same, only try to continuously improve it. So around here we say we try to find a better way every day. That sort of gaining ground and not giving up any ground on the quality perspective. But it's really critical that we have the interactions like we have with you and your organization, and our quarterly meetings we have with you guys, because we can learn so much from each other. That those learnings compound themselves over the years, and it's like technology. It grows exponentially because you put data out, you get data back, you improve on it, right? And so we're doing things today. I mean, the vision is the same. I mean, it's always been the same. I mean, we haven't rewritten our mission and our purpose or core values in 40 years, 35 years. So the mission is still the same. But if you apply your values and you keep your eyes on the prize on what the goal is, to create a retirement community where people's dreams come true, when you start focusing on the community and you learn from it, then you can do it exponentially better every iteration of it. So as you can imagine, we've got some real estate. We went and bought some land, and we are expanding our horizons, and we're taking in data, and we're existing data, new data, and what we're building is not necessarily the same exact thing, but we feel like it's an evolution from what we had built before, what we learned from feedback from that, and we try to improve upon it. You'll see that. I can remember when we first bought all this property, and everybody goes, "Well, when's the next town square?" And we kept saying, "Well, let's please not call it a town square," because there's a preconceived notion about what a town square is. Sure. We already built 3 of them, and everybody kind of said, "Well, that's what a town square is." And so we said, let's not get stuck in that box. That nomenclature has been defined. Let's not get stuck with that definition going forward. Not that it's bad, but we feel like if we can loosen up with all of the people like Suzanne and our architects and engineers and the feedback that we've gained over the years from the community, we could try and do something different. And that's what you're going to see when you see Eastport come out of the ground. And well, it's coming out of the ground. You're going to see a derivation, and we think vastly improved. And I think that the community is going to embrace what we've learned from them and how we've expressed it back to them.
All about enhancements.
Yes.
And the community and wanting those enhancements.
Yeah, exactly. And so we think that we feel we have a high level of pride about what we've accomplished. We're even more excited and think we're going to be even more proud of what we're going to accomplish because we've reconfigured it with solid feedback about, and we think that all sort of promotes this quality of life. It's a great platform for this quality of life theme that seems to be really starting to grow in the community. Over the years, we've learned that people are really concerned about what they're eating now, much more than they were as little as 10 or 15 years ago. Yeah. That's why Village has grown this year. High quality, nutrient dense food that's grown really close to its final use is important. Don't need as many trucks. It's fresher when you get it. It's all things. Yeah. And we have a firm belief that food is medicine. So if you eat clean and you eat well, you're going to have a higher quality of life. And oh, by the way, if you know your neighbors really well and you interact with the community really well, then we know that you're going to have a higher quality of life. And then when you do those things, you're looking for more things to do, and you're communicating with us about how to do that. We go out and try to deliver that, and the residents of the community go out and animate it. Then guess what happens? Quality of life continues to increase. It's exponential. And then we wind up attracting people who are as enthusiastic about the offerings as you are, or as the existing residents are. So we just feel like this inertia is happening. It's all around social connectivity, quality of life, and living a full life, trying to avoid that frailty at end of life, which we seem to be quite good at around here.
So it's like get involved, isn't that? That's a catchy phrase, isn't it? Get involved and it makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
All the way around.
Yeah, we there's a myriad of ways that either we directly or people associated with the community directly ask you for feedback.
And that's one of them. How do we get those people engaged, and you listen to us on the way by. So
it is so critical.
So as far as enhancements for this community, you do rely on the VHA for input on all of those enhancements.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the three-legged stool that we discussed every time we're together.
Last year we discussed that three-legged stool, and now we've created this other three-legged stool, which has that wellness focus from the VHA on it.
Well,
and I think that's that's huge.
Well, I think it's timely. I think it's right on point, and I think it's what the residents of the community crave. And I think that as we continue this continuous improvement cycle that we have, that it is iterative, because we need to hear. Because sometimes, we think we completely understand what you're telling us, and we fail or don't get all the way there in the execution, or we might execute in a direction that isn't exactly what we thought we heard. And you guys tell us those things, or ask. Sometimes just the questions you ask us around, hey, can you tell us about this? Or can you tell us about that? They'll help us modify our behavior going forward, right?
It's interesting.
So, I mean, I can give you dozens of examples if we had time, but it's absolutely true, and going all the way back to the very beginning of the organization, where we were in the formative stages of the community. We had finally gotten some momentum going, and we got some forward inertia, and we wanted to have a deep relationship with the community, and that's the reason why we got started in the first place. I was hauling beer in garbage cans on ice for Marvin Mitchell at the Obie Hills Golf Course when he said, well, who are you? And I said, well, I'm just here trying to help getting this golf tournament going. And he said, well, we need to talk to management about this. And I said, well, how about we wait till this is over and we'll have a little debrief. And it started there. I don't even remember when the first Phillips golf tournament was, but that's how it all started.
Wow.
So, and I think that it's really easy to see that the success of the community is a direct reflection of how that relationship has grown over the years.
Anything you want to share with us that might be beyond the flight of the drones? I love the flight of the drones.
Flight of the drones.
I think that it's wonderful that you guys are now doing flights so that they're why not?
Yeah, well,
we know what's going on.
We do. Sometimes I think that the drones are like the mosquitoes at dusk.
Yeah.
But we try to get out in front and tell folks and show folks what's happening, because we think it helps create excitement around what your feedback has helped us to learn to provide. We're still in the middle of what I consider the biggest production and development lift we've ever attempted, and that is the construction of Central Parkway High School, Middleton, and Eastport, basically all at the same time.
All at the same time.
That has been our team is just fantastic. That's been a big risk, and it's been a huge challenge, and it has been met with great will. We're in the throes of that right now. Coming out of that, you can expect to see us do more of the same, but differently. And there will be a continued heightened focus on quality of life and high quality services to support that. So think primary care, think specialty care, think acute care, think education around that. We feel like education in those, if it happens on site, that's the rising tide that lifts all ships of quality. So we'll be looking at those things. Research. You can imagine that we're going to continue to ask more and more questions about quality of life. We're going to be looking to you guys to help us understand how to do that so that we can really take this thing to the next level. So we're going to want to be doing some more surveys and so on and so forth that can help direct us to know what services to bring, what services to either add or improve. And I just think that this relationship that we have is going to be able to set the bar for many, many others in this wellness, this quality of life setting.
So obviously there's another team that's a younger team that's coming right in behind us.
Yes, sir.
Both of us.
Yep.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, it's a really, really good thing.
And I'm excited. I'm excited to see that transition. I mean, not to see you go anywhere, but to see that there's confidence in your building this next team, and I think that's important. That's important to this community. They want to think that, wow, this is great today, but what's it going to be like tomorrow? So we, as an organization, have to make sure that maintenance is done and continue that enhancement. So this is a big project for both of us.
It is, absolutely. And we become the coaches, right? We become the mentors. I think it's important for everybody to know that the team that's executing today is not the team that executed 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. We've got a really solid bunch of, I call them 40-somethings, mm-hmm. That have already have double-digit years of service. Mm-hmm. So they're experienced, and they're coming into what I call their professional power curve. Mm-hmm. We've got some A-team consultants like mm-hmm. Suzanne and her company, and Ed Placer, who does some architecture for us, has been for years. But the new generation is already boots on the ground and accomplishing these things. There's a few of us old stalwarts left, but
well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
We're coaching now.
Do you have anything you want to tell me? Anything that these folks that are here need to know?
Well, yeah, thank you. I want to tell you thank you, and I want to thank the folks in the audience and those who are going to get to watch this that may or may not be in the audience for unwavering support and for the connectivity that we have. I think it's critically important, and I hope that everybody who gets the chance to hear this or see this understands that we're serious about. We're very, very serious about it, and we very much appreciate it. It is our fuel. It is our connectivity is the fuel for what we do.
And I want to thank you, Mark, for taking this time in your office with your staff and putting this together. Unfortunately, you can't be with us in person tonight, but I understand that things happen.
Schedule is busy.
Schedule is a busy thing, but we've had a great evening, and I want to thank you for being a part of that.
Well, thanks for bringing me along. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you. So in this whole process, you may have noticed that there are a few transitions that have taken place. And some of those that I might share with you is Shared Harvest Gardens is now being funded by our foundation committee, which is an integral part of what we do. So that, I believe, is right out there with the helping hands. The VHA Helping Hands is part of our organization. Shared Harvest Gardens is going to be part of our organization also. Thanks to Andy Hendricks for putting up with me and some innovations that I may well have thrown at that garden. One of the other things that's happened for us in the transition is we've had a massive website overhaul. We've transitioned from our previous builder to a new organization called Curious Minds. And there are a lot of things that are going to happen on our website, and we want to make that more innovative. One of them is going to be a resource hub. We understand that that there are hundreds of resources that are available. We want to make it easier for all of us to age in place. So we want to be able for you to go to the VHA.net and to be able to find a resource that may well be something that you need to have or that your parents need to have. So that's high on our list, and I believe that Dame Fontaine has got that pretty close to being live at this point in time. Another thing that's going to be part of that is frequently asked questions. People move here. We've been here for 2 months and we have a question. We don't know how to answer that question. Well, sometimes these questions have been asked over and over, and we don't understand the importance of that to you. So what we want to do is have a frequently asked questions part of our website that is available to the public at all times. And another thing that we're going to do is we're going to create an area so that maybe we can filter some of the advertising monies that go to political action committees or to for-profit organizations to our website to help sponsor our foundation committee, because that money can be used to really make a difference in the community. And that's what we're all about from our philanthropic efforts. So that you can look forward to that happening also. I'm going to throw a challenge to the community, and the challenge would be that I often see, that's a lie, I don't often see because I choose not to read them, but there are letters to the editor. People have problems and they throw a letter to some editor that's just bad-mouthing our community. And so what I'm going to challenge those folks to do is to send me that letter. Send it to the VHA and give us 30 days. Because I think we can work some magic in those 30 days. And I think we can get some of these problems solved. One of those things, there's a guy in this audience tonight, his name is Joe Tedesco, and he's on a treadmill beside me. He walks really, really fast, and I struggle running beside him, and there's not enough oxygen in that place when I'm doing that. But Joe said to me, I don't know if I should ask you this, but I'm going to anyway. I have this problem. Jacobs came and did some fire hydrant work, and I haven't been able to get the turf fixed, and it's a mess, and it has been, and I can't get a response. And I said, well, Joe, give me some information. And I went home and I made I sent one email, and that afternoon there was a knock on Joe's door, and somebody from Jacobs came and apologized for not being expedient with making his job happen. So that's, that's a simple thing. The next day they came and fixed it, and Joe was excited. But those things shouldn't happen. We should be able to, through our issues team, we should be able to make some of these adjustments and get some of these things happening. So that's a challenge. I'll challenge the community. Send me the letters. Send them to P.Russell at the VHA.net. Let me work 30 days to see if we can accomplish it. Guaranteed that we will respond. Has anybody ever seen this guy, whoever the person is, writes a letter to the editor? And have you ever seen him come back 30 days or 60 days and say, oh, by the way, thank you very much for putting that letter in the paper, because I got a response and it was very positive and we really appreciate A, B, or C for fixing that problem? I've never seen that, and I'm not sure that it's ever happened. But that's going to be a big part of what we want to do in the future. Another thing is that we want to double our membership in the next 5 years. That's a big number. You know how we can do that? This just dawned on me today. I think it's genius. And that is that if every one of us asks one other couple to be members of our organization, what happens? We double our membership. Pretty simple. In fact, our membership is as cheap, maybe even less expensive than going out to having 2 glasses of wine and a tip. So I'm not sure. I think that we're more beneficial than those. Do you think so, Dave? We're more beneficial than the 2 glasses of wine? As we double this membership, we need to have volunteers. There's a table set up in the lobby downstairs. We need people to help us. Whatever your expertise is, let us know, and somebody from my leadership teams will get to you, and we would love to have your help. We run a 15,000 member organization the way we are, but if we're going to go to 30, then we need to do we need some more volunteers. And there's a critical thing that's not been mentioned here tonight, and that is that in November, there are some elections that are taking place. We are not a political action committee. We are not an organization that ever backs candidates, because we can't by law. However, there are some, and I have to express this, there are some CDD elections taking place. We need to know who's running our community development districts. Each one of us lives in one of those districts. We need to know who those people are, and we need to vote accordingly. Another critical point in this is that there are 3 seats that are open on the county commissioners level. You know, when I talked about earlier is that stool with the quality of life engraved in it? It is incredibly important that we elect people to those commissioners' seats who are going to be trying to enhance our community. If we all of a sudden are going from a 15 to a 30,000 membership, we've got a big voice. We can make a lot of things happen. There's another thing that's happening, and I think that all of us need to send a letter to our senators and at least to our representatives, and that is there's some problems with Medicare and the Advantage plans that may well affect a lot of us in this audience, and certainly a lot of people who live in the villages. And they need to know how we can, how they can help us through this process. So our voice needs to get bigger. We need to double our membership. We can do that easily with your help. Then we get the bigger voice. Then if Rick Scott comes to town, I can sit at lunch with him and I can say, you know, we've got 30,000 people who live right in this community, and this is what we'd like to see you do for us. So we have a bigger voice, and I would ask you, please, to just simply get involved and make a difference. And finally, I need to thank Mark Morse for helping us and his development team for helping us, the VHA, put this event together. They've been extraordinary. Mark is a busy guy, and he took the time to meet with me. I told him when I walked in I was going to put on a jacket and tie, and he said you'd have been the only guy in the building with a jacket and tie on. So that was good, but I want to make sure that I thank him. I certainly need to thank Kenny Blocker and Kerry Duckett for their participation. We meet with them on a regular basis and are able to accomplish a lot of things. Drew Craven, John Rohan, Bob Trin, Heather Long have all been wonderful to work with. The staff at the Sierra and her staff here and Mike at the Sharon have been absolutely wonderful, and you folks are wonderful, and I thank you all for being here. The folks that you saw on this stage earlier will be in the lobby, I believe, to answer any questions that you might have, but thank you again for coming. We appreciate you.
Prices for groceries and gas have gone through the roof. Did you know that Renewal by Anderson's energy-efficient replacement windows and doors could help lower your energy bills and save you money? They're made with our exclusive FiberX material that's vastly superior to vinyl and backed by the nation's best warranty, covering both our product and installation. Click or call Renewal by Anderson now for your free consultation and a money-saving offer. Installation is always included.
Goss & Son Jewelers would like to invite you to our diamond event going on now. If you are looking for the perfect engagement ring, special gift for an anniversary, or just because, don't miss this event. We have hundreds of bridal designs, fashion jewelry, rings, and diamond earrings. It's service you can trust and quality we stand behind for over 70 years. For all of your special occasions, shop Goss & Son Jewelers, your diamond destination, downtown Ocala.
With our Florida Blue products, we do travel very well for our villagers that travel around the world or the United States. You have emergency coverage worldwide, and with some of our plans, just because we're Florida Blue, we are the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association. We work nationwide with our Blue Cross and Blue Shield providers in all the states that have Medicare Advantage plans.
For more information about Medicare enrollment, stop into a Florida Blue office today located in the Village's healthcare centers at Mulberry, Creekside, and Brownwood, or call 352-629-7070.
Spartan Vacations, a premier travel concierge service.
Traveling sometimes isn't about the price, it's about the experience. Once you become a member, you get a one number. It's a one-stop shop. That's it. That's all you need for everything you do. You can focus on what you're going to do on your trip, not putting together the trip. We've had people that are on their anniversary, and they'll call us and they'll have roses and flowers put in the room prior to getting there. We're talking about that kind of service, a very, very elite service for the average person. Please come down and check us out. We offer a buffet every day. We're here pretty much 5 days a week. Come down and see what we have to offer. It won't be anything high pressure. Just come down and enjoy yourselves. See if there's something that fits your bucket list trip when you start to think about going on that one trip with your spouse or by yourself that's going to leave memories for the rest of your life.
Let Spartan Vacations show you a better way to travel. Join us for an exclusive fun-filled seminar today. Spots fill quickly. Call 1-800-915-5291 to make a reservation.
Are you earning enough interest on your savings? Raisin gives you free access to some of the best rates on CDs and high-yield savings accounts from banks and credit unions nationwide. There's no jargon, no minimums, and no hidden fees. Grow your savings today. Visit raisin.com/get-started.
When it gets hot, DeLuca Toyota gets hotter. Summer starts here. With the biggest in-stock inventory of this year, we have your new Toyota. Every new and pre-owned vehicle is on sale with prices clearly marked. You want hotter? Lease a new RAV4 for only $104 per month. How about an all-out scorcher? Lease a new Corolla for only $84 per month. Get up to $10,000 off certified pre-owned Toyotas. For the hottest deals, visit DeLuca Toyota. Toyota makes the car, DeLuca makes the difference.
You're always welcome at Cody's.
Follow me right this way.
It's where friends and family meet for fun times and great food.
We enjoy the 2-for-1 happy hour from 11 to 7.
We come here for the amazing nightly entertainment.
Great service and loads of smiles await you at Cody's Original Roadhouse in Brownwood and Lake Sumter Landing.
Spring savings are happening now at Cartworld Golf Cars. Get bonus discounts up to $2,000 on in-stock 2024 gas, electric, or lithium power Onward Series club cars, 2, 4, and 6 passenger. Plus, choose from a variety of exciting finishes. Ask about our free Bluetooth stereo promotion, available now on select vehicles. Don't miss out on these huge savings. Cartworld, Club Cars award-winning authorized dealer for over 35 years, conveniently located in Lady Lake on Highway 441-27, 1 block north of County Road 466. Drive a little, save a lot.
To run a 1/10 of a second faster. To jump 2 centimeters higher. It's in the human DNA. To do something better than the time before. At UF Health, we're built from that same DNA to not just save time, but save brain cells by launching a network of mobile stroke treatment units, one of the first in the country. To not just do research, but to do it with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia, using AI technology in the ICU to save lives. Some say our breakthroughs are world-renowned, but it's that one last push, that fraction more. That's what it takes to do something truly special. Human progress has no finish line. UF Health.